Waiting for Aditi to start recording. All right, it's recording. So, uh, hi guys. Hi, all of the GPODS fellows. And today is probably the right time to call you GPODS fellows because you have officially graduated today. In the next couple of hours, you'd have your certificates. You'd have completed all of the things that we had to offer. But I really hope, and I want to start off on a note today to tell you that continuity is something that we really cherish. And we, from our end, Arpit, I, all of the mentors that you see on the screen, GPODS, would want to continue this association with all of you because you become a GPODS fellow today. You do not end becoming a GPODS fellow today. So that being said, let me first of all, it is my role to welcome everyone here. And let me first welcome our convocation speaker, Mr. Eric Solheim. I have a separate introduction prepared for him. So I'll come to that introduction a little later, but let me first welcome him. Thank you so much, Mr. Solheim, for taking out the time. We have so many of our mentors who've joined us today, and every time I am looking at my screen, I'm being reminded of the 3 months that have passed by, which seem so insignificant now. But when you look at all the people who have contributed their time, their energy, their technical expertise to this fellowship, it really, I think, warms my heart, and I'm pretty sure that that drives us to do more good going forward. So that being said, I welcome all of the mentors. Thank you for taking out the time. Gintare, Curtis, John, Ibtisam, Mr. Dixon. We have a couple of Johns on the screen, so you're going for a little more respectable Mr. Dixon here, John. We have John Cummings, who's obviously no less respectable, and thank you everyone for devoting your time over the past 3 months. We're also being joined by Professor David Tipping, and thank you, Professor Tipping, for joining us. It is an absolute pleasure to have hosted you as a mentor, to have hosted all of you as mentors of the GPODS Fellowship. There were a bunch of other mentors who were supposed to join in, but we kind of have to make peace with the fact that we're living in uncertain times and we got to do what we can do. But I hope that all of you, much like I do, keep in touch with each of the mentors here and otherwise, and carry the conversations forward. So that bit done, let me now welcome the most important parts of this GPODS fellowship, which is our fellows. So all of you had been, I remember Arpit and I going over each application twice over, thrice over. I remember making a conscious decision towards making it a smaller cohort so that there's more exchange of ideas. I remember, so there were a lot of decisions that we took in before you even became the GPODS fellows, before we sent out acceptance letters. And so by the time you joined in, Arpit and I were almost arrogant about the fact that we know you very well. And we know where you're coming from, and we know what you bring to the table, everything. But I have never been so happily surprised in my life when I did actually get to know each of you through office hours, through our random discussions, through WhatsApp calls, through lectures, through mentorship sessions, everything. I think I have really, I know that GPODS is supposed to be a melting pot of knowledge exchange and cultural diversity and everything. But I really think that through this cohort, I have come out wiser, smarter, more experienced, learn a couple of things more. And that's all thanks to the fellows whom I think I knew. But today, at least, I can claim that to a certain extent I know. So I'm very, very proud of each of you. I welcome you to this ceremony, which is your ceremony. It's your event. And I hope, as I said at the very beginning, that we continue these conversations throughout the rest of our times. And I'd just like to reiterate to everyone that, to all of the fellows especially, that you have become a GPODS mentor today. you haven't stopped becoming a GPODS. Sorry, you've become a GPODS fellow today. You haven't stopped becoming a GPODS fellow. So please keep the conversations going. I would tell you what I told you on the first day of this fellowship. Both Arpit and I are annoyingly approachable. Please do keep in touch and let's keep the conversation going. And let's not forget that policy, diplomacy, sustainability, the three important pillars of GPODS fellowship are supposed to be the three important pillars of our civilization, if I may. And all of you now, to a certain extent, are better placed to make a difference going forward because you have the knowledge capital, you have the networks to do something about it. So let's make our voices be heard going forward. Let's become leaders that we expect you to be. One of the things that we keep on saying about the Global Policy Diplomacy Sustainability Fellowship is that we're forging leaders of tomorrow. And when I look at the cohort and the people present here, I really do think that we've played our part in doing that. So I expect all of you to make your voices heard and to become leaders of tomorrow. And no pressure, just a little expectation of changing the world in the next few years. So that being said, we have a small video for all of you, for all of our mentors, fellows, the wonderful GPODS team here to watch. And I assure you it's a small video. It's not a long Indian movie video that you expect with Indian videos. And once that video is done, we'll move on to the rest of the schedule. So a video for all of you to watch and reminisce. Aditi, if we could play it, please.
This is a place where you are not really a student, we are not really teachers, we are all coming together in a community of fellowship, and that's the reason why we call it a fellowship, where we think that everybody makes knowledge or builds knowledge based on the ideas that they already have in their mind.
The problem is greenhouse gas emissions that affect the temperature of the climate.
The agricultural land, the places which we use to grow crops, have a fair amount of saltwater intrusion.
Actually, the very close cooperation between the United States and China to come to an agreement to how to operationalize this principle into the future.
Policy-making body on environment at the same level with the General Assembly for all other issues globally. But for environment, it established the United Nations Environment Assembly.
ION term, IOI, or impact on investment. So that's essentially what this, your management really should all be about. You're trying to maximize the impact on investment.
So you might define it as coordinated and synchronized action that often deliberately targets democratic states and institutions.
Someone has said, never let a crisis go to waste. So we are in a huge crisis. Let's not waste it. And instead build from it, build safer, better, and in a more holistic fashion.
I am thoroughly enjoying the fellowship. I think it's keeping me enthusiastic, lively. I'm really excited. I look forward to lectures. I look forward talking to Arpit and Ishan more often. So I'm really glad that I am a part of GPODS. I took the right decision.
GPODS has helped us build such a rich network of professionals who are truly global and, are actually working at the cutting edge of solving some real policy problems.
So this is one go-to course that you really need in your life so that you can really enhance in your academic skills and get to push to what you really want to achieve in life when it comes to policy making, sustainability, and diplomacy.
Knowledge sharing that's happening, and it's not just learning from the mentors and the people who are taking the lectures, but it's also learning from the fellows and learning from your peers. And I think that's really amazing. And the fact that all the fellows come, like we all come from such diverse professional backgrounds, so that's really a huge plus.
So yeah, I think the amount of interactions I have had with my co-fellows and the mentors, so those have been very good. And like since we have been in a lockdown since the past 1 year, so I haven't really had the chance to interact with new people and get new perspective into my life. So I think that way the fellowship has helped me a lot. I have so many friends across the globe now, and so the key learnings have been very helpful for me.
Take away from this fellowship, which is to always be a learner and to never stop being a student.
All right, guys. I know it's a little rude to try and wrap up a journey that seems so much longer than just 3 months, but we tried to do that through this video. I hope all of you did enjoy it. I hope, as I said, you could reminisce a little and think about the times that you have spent at GPODS. This is but a small snippet of the kind of admiration that we have for you, and I hope that you do see this video as our welcoming present to the GPODS family, and if I may, as a parting gift as you move on to other things in life. So that being said, it is now the time when I do officially introduce Mr. Solheim, Eric Solheim, to all of you, who's your convocation speaker today. And let me first tell you what I told Eric when I was speaking with him to send him the Google Calendar invite for today. And I was telling him that it is, as I said at the very beginning, the Global Policy, Diplomacy, Sustainability Fellowship, GPODS Fellowship, which stands for the 3 pillars of policy, diplomacy, and sustainability of climate change and climate action and comparative public administration and international political economy. So many of these things. We wanted to have someone to address you on your graduation ceremony, on your convocation, someone who stood by all of these principles and understood the interdisciplinary nature of how decisions are going to be made. So that was a very important reason why we wanted to have Mr. Solheim to deliver the address today. The second reason was, as I mentioned earlier, I expect all of you, because that's the aim of GPODS, to forge global leaders of tomorrow. And I expect all of you to make your opinions and your voices heard and change opinions and break opinions as you go ahead in your life with the tools, the little tools that we have given to you of network, of knowledge. And a very good example, if not one of the better examples of being that global leader who has effectuated global change is Mr. Solheim. So I could not think of a better person we could not have had a better person to address all of you today. Now, Mr. Solheim is obviously the senior advisor at World Resources Institute. He's the CEO of Plastic Revolution Foundation. He's a very, very famous Norwegian diplomat. Almost everyone knows him, and everyone I've spoken to him knows him personally. So he's also very good with networking as well. So that is something that you have to take forward as well. He served in the Norwegian government as the Minister of International Development and Minister of Environment. He served as the Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Program. till 2018. Now, before I go ahead with the introduction, I must also inform you that I went through a bunch of profiles, including the one that I had of Mr. Solheim, and I cannot do injustice by going on and on about Mr. Solheim, because that is the amount of work he's done in his life towards sustainability and policy and international relations. So I'll just restrict myself up till now, and I'll move over and give the floor to Mr. Solheim. Thank you, Mr. Solheim, for joining us. And I'd request you to address the graduating GPODS fellows today.
Thank you so much, Ehsan, and I'm so proud to be asked to speak to this great group of people for this convocation of GPODS. I've heard a lot about your studies on geopolitics, public policy, environmental law, and I'm looking forward to you being change agents in the years to come. I really took to heart the slogan, think, act, create change, because that's exactly what we need. And if people tell you that change is not possible, then think of the greatest of all Indians. This man from Gujarat, Mohandas Gandhi, who came to India in 1915 after 20 years in South Africa. He came to India at the time when the British Empire was dominating the world. It was by far the strongest institution in the world. It was strong, it was self-confident, it was greedy, it was racist. It was not a beautiful thing, but it was strong. And this man took upon himself to fight this enormous power just by his moral authority and by empowering the people of India. At the time, the people who thought he could succeed was close to zero. Very few. None in the UK thought he could succeed. Very few in the world, and even in India, was just a small minority thought it was possible to defeat the British Empire, and to do it in only 3 decades. The Indian National Congress at the time was a relatively small elitist entity with some good intellectuals for sure, but not really rooted in the masses of India. And that was what Gandhi brought, and he brought this fantastic change to India just by fighting hard and by doing it in the right, intelligent manner, which could achieve results. So if anyone ever says change is not possible, I'll just say this word, Mahatma Gandhi. That's the only answer needed. Of course, not all of you, probably none of you, will be able to create changes of the scale and magnitude of Mahatma Gandhi. But we can all make changes, important changes in our lives, in our villages or cities, in our nations, and even at the international scene. So let's look into the opportunities of change rather than the problems. We are speaking at a time which is a horrible time in India. I came back from India a week ago, and I met so many people with fear. People were scared, they are fearing, and I hope that none of you have relatives, parents, grandparents, others who have been dying from the disease or going through pain from the disease. So please take care of all of your loved ones. And we understand this is a horrible time, and the hearts of the world are really bleeding for India at this time. And fortunately also now it seems that a good number of nations are mobilizing support and resources which may be helpful to India. But at a terrible time, it's always useful to look into the future, because while the present is bad, the future is good. The opportunities of India at this stage are enormous. India is one of the most vibrant places in the world. By 2050, the economy of India will have surpassed the economy of the United States, to be second in the world only to China, and the vast majority of Indians will have moved up to the middle class. There will still be people who are much poorer than others for sure, but it will be a completely new and more modern and better place. Life expectancy is rapidly increasing. The number of children going to school is enormously on the increase. First time I came to India, there were hundreds of thousands of polio cases in India every year. For the last 7 years, not one, 0. So India is really on the move. and we will see that coming back very fast after the COVID-19 crisis. I believe India will then be the fastest growing economy in the world. And by the way, by 2050, we expect 3 Asian nations to be among the 4 biggest economies in the world. It's China, India, and Indonesia. No European economy will be among the 10 biggest economies in the world, except Germany. Yes, combined, the European Union will be important, but separately, the European nations will be small and insignificant compared to India. And I also believe there is room for optimism, because I believe we are living at a time which is much, much better than any other time, also when it comes to the environment. We have 3 major crises of the environment, and you are aware, so I will not dig into that. I mean, it's the climate crisis, it's the destruction we humans do to the ecosystems and to nature, and it's the pollution crisis, where the air pollution or plastic pollution or other sorts of pollution. These are the 3 problems we need to resolve. But we have the once in a generation opportunity to resolve these issues. And let me very briefly take you to the 4 most important places in the world. This is not to say that everyone is of course important, but at the end of the day, 4 major places are more important than the rest. It's China, it's India, it's United States of America, and it's Europe, because these are the biggest economies and also the nations with the biggest impact, whether it's on military or on environment. And in all 4 places, there is really, really positive change now. When you start with the United States, after Biden came in, he has launched one great big green initiative after the other. The infrastructure package, which is proposed to the Senate, is the greenest document ever proposed to the American Congress. It's far greener than anything we have seen, even from good presidents in the past, like say Barack Obama. It's investing in charging stations for electric vehicles, in solar energy, in wind energy, also in upgrading the water pipes so that poor communities in America will not be polluted from lead. So it's a throughout green program which will transform the United States. Then move on to China, where President Xi Jinping last fall said that China will go carbon neutral by 2060, and it will peak its emission in the 2020s. And it has enormous impact. Wherever you go in China, I was there in December last year, all the provinces, all the cities, all the companies are now thinking, how can we deliver upon the promise given by our president? And of course, many of the provinces of China are much bigger economies than most nations in the world, and the impact is immediate. And while people have a very old-fashioned, many outside China, picture China as a very polluted place, it's not the case any longer. Unfortunately, now India is a much, much more polluted country than China is, and that's because the Chinese have been able to bring it down very, very strongly over the last 10 years. And China is now the world leader on solar energy, on wind energy, on high-speed electric rail, on electric buses. I mean, there are more electric buses in one Chinese city, Shenzhen alone, than there is in the entire world outside China combined. Then move on to Europe, where the European Commission or European Union has launched the Green New Deal, and a fantastic green program for Europe, which is now the centerpiece of European integration. It's not just some green policies on the sidelines. No, the entire European Union is rotating around this green program. And in India, Prime Minister Modi has completely transformed the debate from the debate about whether you want in India to develop or to take care of Mother Earth into a debate as to how can India develop very fast, but at the same time protecting the planet. That, for instance, means moving into solar. And India now has 3 out of the 5 biggest solar plants in the world. That's the first all-solar rail station in Assam. India is the first all-solar airport in Kochi, in Kerala. And India is moving from a coal-based economy into a renewable economy at a high speed. And when you take all this together, rapid action in the United States, in China, in Europe, and in India, we will see a completely different world in the years to come. And underlying all this is the fact that solar and renewable energy is now the cheapest energy in the world. And by the way, there's the place where it's the cheapest. It's much, much cheaper to invest in solar than in coal. In many places, it's even economically viable to close down old coal plants and replace them with new solar, and you save money added to creating better air and a better climate protection. So we are not in the old economy where you need to first pollute and then clean up, first develop and then take care of Mother Earth. We are in the win-win situation where you can move on environment and economy at the same time. Ecology and economy goes together as one. That's why I'm so optimistic, and that's why we see these big changes, because political leaders can opt for the green and at the same time create more, not fewer jobs, better economy, not less, bring more people out of poverty while going green at the same time. And this is very, very well seen by the political leaders. President Biden has not at one point spoken about all the problems with climate change, all the crises we may have, sea level rise or hurricanes or extreme weather. Is just speaking about the enormous opportunity for the American people to go green and create jobs. In China, President Xi Jinping has made exactly the same point. He has made even the slogan, which is "Green is gold," he says, meaning that going green is as good for the economy as gold was in the past. So we are at a point where we have every opportunity to succeed. And humanity has shown in the past that we can take on huge problems and defeat them. And I mentioned Maganda as an example of that, but we have any number of other examples, of course. I mean, a couple of hundred years back, slavery was normal all over the planet. Christian leaders said this is in the Bible, so we cannot do anything with it. Islamic leaders said it's in the Quran. Economists said the British Empire will go down and under if you do not continue with slavery. Then some people picked the fight, and they succeeded, because slavery is now abolished everywhere in the world. So what are the obstacles we need to overcome to succeed? And I basically see three. I will go a little bit with them. I mean, first is to get the geopolitics right, because if we create conflicts rather than cooperation in the world, we will have difficulty to succeed in. Second, we need to get investment and economy and business right, understand the power of business. And thirdly, we need a new deal for nature, putting Mother Earth center stage in what we do. But let me start with the togetherness in this world. I mean, that's the number one lesson of the COVID-19. We are not 195 different ships sailing around the planet. We have 195 nations having 195 different rooms in the same boat. And unless you understand that, we will fail. But that we have learned that very, very daily through COVID-19. No one has been able to contain it in their place. Started in China, then moved on to Europe, then to the United States. India was extremely successful in the early days in containing it, not so successful now. So we have seen how this has moved around the world, and we are in it together. And we are also in a world which is multipolar, meaning that there's not one nation who can dominate the world. And until very recently, the United States was so powerful, they could basically set the rules for everyone else. That's not the case anymore. The two biggest nations, the most powerful nations in the world, are the United States and China. But then comes India, Europe, and of course, Brazil, Russia. There is any number of Japan, Korea, there is any number of other powers who also want their say in setting the direction for the world. That's a much more interesting world, a much more fair world, much better world than the world of the past. But it's a complicated world because we need to understand that we can only succeed together. India comes into this new multipolar world in my view, in a completely new, self-confident way. There's been a surge in Indian nationalism over the last years, as far as I can see it. And the people of India and the government of India is approaching the world based on self-confidence. This is a young, dynamic population, high-tech in many cases, surging economy, able to tackle environment problems at home. So India has a strong role to play in the world, and India also has the right to be treated as a major power in the world. Because completely unfair and without any real arguments today that India is not on the Security Council as a permanent member, while some medium-sized European nations are still members of the Security Council. That cannot continue. Everyone knows it will have to change. It's just it takes time to make that change happen. This world is still dominated by a competition between the two biggest and strongest powers, which are the United States and China. The economies of US and China are more or less the same, but of course US is still much richer per capita, and US has a military power which is in a completely different division from anyone else. I mean, I think the American military budget is like the 10 next powers combined. So don't think that the US is not an important power. It's also an enormously innovative nation with a very strong culture. But China has come up as an equal power to the US. That's the new. The interest of India, as I can see it, is to be close friends with both the United States and with China. India can trade with both of them. They can have people-to-people exchanges with both of them. And they can gain in many different ways from cooperation with both. And for all the other nations in the world, no one wants to choose. There's not one nation in the world that really want to make the choice between the United States and China, and we should resist any attempt to force us to choose. And we should say, no, thank you. We want to be friends with both the two main powers, and we want to work with them to find global solutions for a common shared humanity. And the idea which is sometimes there, particularly in some circles in the United States, that the world, so to say, can decouple into one US-led sphere and one China-led sphere is a ridiculous, dangerous idea. It will create tensions and potentially even armed conflicts, but it will also be an economic disaster for everyone. The biggest market for General Motors is not any longer in the United States, it's in China. If you buy an Apple mobile phone, yes, it may be designed in California, but for sure, I don't know, maybe 60% of what's in the Apple phone is produced in China. And you can make, of course, all these kind of examples. India comes into the same, and we will find Indian component, Indian engineers, Indian technology in many areas. We should look into how we can work together, how we can integrate economies, how we can share the prosperity of the world, rather than the ideas of decoupling into one sphere where you have Apple and Google and Microsoft, and another sphere where you have Tencent, Alibaba, and Huawei, just to mention some of the names. Second, we need to emphasize the togetherness of the world. The other is we need to see the importance of business. That has been sometimes difficult for political leaders to understand, and also sometimes difficult for environmentalists to have taken a negative view of business. And of course, in India itself, until the reform started by Manmohan Singh when he was the finance minister in the 1990s, India got the role of business wrong, in my view. I mean, that's also why development in India after independence lagged so much. India didn't really understand what China understood 15 years earlier, that the importance of business and the importance of opening up to the world. That's a major reason why India still lags somewhat behind China on development. But that's a thing of the past. Now India takes a positive view of business. I mean, all the main parties, whether it's Congress or BJP or others, take a positive view of business and understand the role of business. And by and large, business is now well ahead of governments on the environment in the world. Give you a few examples. I mean, no government of any sort has ever made any promise similar to what Microsoft has done in the United States. Microsoft has promised to be carbon neutral by 2030, which is fairly soon. Adding to that, they said we will compensate for all emissions in the history of our company. Our company is 50 years old. Whatever emission we have made to the world, we will now compensate by buying credits from rainforests or from tree planting or from whatever method it may be. Adding to that, Microsoft has said we will be a zero plastic waste company. We will not produce any plastic waste, which we will distribute to the world. We will take care of it inside the company and recycle it. And added to that, I even made an agreement with Alaska Airlines, the biggest airlines in Seattle, where they had the headquarters, where they will compensate. Alaska Airlines will reduce its emissions as much as all the travels of all Microsoft employees on Alaska Airlines airplanes. That's just Microsoft. Nearly all the other tech companies have made similar, maybe not as ambitious, but fairly similar promises. And if you move on to a couple of European giants, IKEA, the Swedish furniture maker, which is also represented in India. I think it's Hyderabad, they have their outlet, but maybe I'm wrong on that. They are far ahead of any government in the world when it comes to circular economy. They are not offering to people to rent some of the furniture, offering to take it in. When you buy something new, you will take in the old, and then so it can be used again, and a number of new schemes. So to make sure that all parts of all the products are made without destruction of rainforest or any negatives for the environment, but also in a circular way, so it can be used and used again. And Volkswagen, which is the second biggest car company in the world, 2 weeks back said the debate is over. They said there is no more any debate about the combustible engine. It has lost. Electric engine has won the debate. And we will go all out electric. We won't spend 1 calorie on improving our gasoline cars because they are a thing of the past. All our efforts will now be how to make the electric vehicles for the future. And Volkswagen alone will make something like 25 different models of electric vehicles. And of course, when the giants of industry take this view, and moving ahead, and no politician can stop them, even if they wanted to. Look to the fact that the president of the United States until recently tried to stop environment progress in the US. He can't even succeed in his own core states. I mean, Texas, being one of the most Republican, most red states in the United States, they are now moving extremely fast into wind and solar. I just saw the plans for solar in Texas. They're astonishing, fantastic, because there's a great potential there, for it's a lot of sun in Texas. But it shows that even if politicians don't really put their heart into this green change, still it happens in the most surprising places because of the role of business. But for sure, it helps if governments stimulate, subsidize, make the right political decisions, make the legal framework you need. But it happens even when that is not the case, simply because of the role of business. And competition in business is one of the main reasons for environment optimism. The price of solar energy is now 10% of what it was 10 years back. Many of the original ideas came from California, from Germany, but it's basically thanks to China and India who's brought down the price. And finally, added to understanding the geopolitics and added to understanding the role of business, we need a new deal for nature. There will be a big conference in Kunming in China in the fall, which will try to make that happening. And that's simply to understand and protect the planet much, much better. We destroy the one planet which we have been given. We wipe out different species, destroy the ecosystems. It's an economic catastrophe. It undermines our economic development. It's an ethical, religious catastrophe. I mean, all religions tell us to protect the planet. The Bible, the Christian Bible, starts and ends with nature, and gods tell us to protect the world. And of course, in Hindu tradition, the idea that we are one big family is very, very strong in the Indian great epics of Ramayana and others. So we need to protect our planet much better. And here there are also a good number of success stories to report about, but we need these success stories to inspire us to do more. The number of tigers came down very close to zero in India. Now it's on its increase. Nepal, as the first version in the world, achieved a doubling of the tiger population. So we can at least believe that's coming up. Snow leopards, which was also close to extinction in Asia, are now increasing. The Chinese have done great work on the pandas, where the number is also rapidly increasing. So with good efforts, it's possible. I was to Maharashtra state and a couple of years back and saw the work made to protect the tigers there, which was basically to link the different national parks so that one tiger can go to find a mate in another one, and of course without killing or harming any of the villagers in the area. That's the kind of practical examples. Overpasses, over railroads or roads, you need to make sure that the wildlife will survive in a time where India is rapidly moving ahead. And one of the most surprising success stories is one of the the poorest nations in the world, as in Rwanda in Africa. The gorilla population in Rwanda is now rapidly increasing. Remember, Rwanda was the nation of the biggest genocide in modern history. It was a horrible place, but now it has moved into one of the lead nations in Africa in many areas, on the life of people, but also protecting the planet. And that done it by making sure that those living in the areas of the gorillas benefit from the gorillas being there. Because if you want to see the gorillas, you have to pay $1,500 American dollars for 1 hour, which of course is a huge amount, but it creates an economy for the taxi drivers, the tour guides, the hotel people, all those, so that they are the first line protectors of the gorillas. And in Indonesia, which was one of the biggest deforestation nations, now has come to the top of the list from the bottom, from very low to the top of the list. Deforestation rate in Indonesia is now drastically reduced, thanks to great efforts from the government and from the big companies and business in Indonesia. So we need a new deal for nature. We need it fast. We need to act much better, and we need to solve the big kind of system problem of modern capitalism. That if you destroy nature, the benefit is normally private. You get it, or a company get it, or someone get it. While if you protect nature, the benefit of destroying nature is private, while the cost of protecting nature is socialized. I mean, they're paid for by the taxpayers or by future generation or someone else. And when you have this dynamic that you can benefit personally from the destruction, while the costs are put on someone else, it's a wrong dynamic which need to change. But I'm certain we can also do this, and I see lots of optimism because of the success stories of tigers, pandas, gorillas, snow leopards. So thank you so much for listening to me. I try to impress upon you the importance of togetherness in this world. We cannot resolve anything alone, but we can resolve every big issue together. If you have questions or ideas you want to share with me, please send me emails. You can find me on Twitter if you look into that, where you can also contact me, and also see when I try to put out quite a lot of good positive environment stories from India and other places. So I started with Mahatma Gandhi, the biggest change maker I can think of. Let me end also with him. He said once that if you want to change the world, you need to be the change you want to see in this world. And that's the lesson for all of us. If we can all be the change we want to see, we will succeed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Solheim. Thank you for such a wonderful address. And I was taking down notes when you were speaking, because you touched on the history, you touched on theology, philosophy, economics, environment, businesses. You touched on the New Deal for nature and the call for systemic change to come up with global solutions to sustainability. And I feel very proud for having invited you here, more than congratulating you for such a wonderful speech. So thank you so much, Mrs. Solheim, for taking out the time and leaving us with so much to think about, so much to do, but also so much energy and so much positivism of what we could use going forward. Really inspiring, and thank you, Mr. Solheim. And we will continue our connection with GPODS. We're not going to let you go so easily. So we will be keeping in touch, and thank you for also offering for all the fellows to connect with you separately as well. So that is also something that we should be taking forward. Thank you so much again, Mr. Solheim, and really moving address. Thank you so much. That being said, Arpit, you're up next. And could I, what we will be doing now is that this is time when you earn your GPOD certificates, and Arpit is going to be taking you all through it. And over to you, Arpit.
All right. So with this, first of all, again, thanks a lot, Mr. Solheim, for those inspirational words. I think, a lot of times we forget about how insurmountable or seemingly insurmountable challenges have been overcome by a small group of people and individuals like Mahatma Gandhi that you mentioned. And that's certainly a message that is appropriate for the GPODS fellows to leave with. And I will deliver my closing address towards the end, but right now, let me just congratulate all of the fellows for making it this far. We are extremely, extremely proud of you. And as Ishan said, that this is the beginning of our journey. We have given you, the initial material, the raw material of what we think would make you more effective leaders in the world. You were already leaders when you came in. That's why we selected you, because you were at that watershed moment in your life where you could really make meaningful change in the world by thinking in multidisciplinary terms and building meaningful coalitions around people across the world. So without further ado, let me congratulate each and every one of you. Your names will be shown over here, and it'll be nice if we can just probably unmute ourselves and clap for each and every of the fellows who are graduating with us today. I will also invite each of the fellows, if they're here, to probably just say a couple of words about the fellowship, about your experience. Please restrict yourself to anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute while you do that, so that we can keep in time. But without further ado, first of all, let me congratulate Ms. Alicia Chavon for graduating as a GPODS fellow today. Alicia, we are extremely proud of you. All right, the fellows would speak after the certificate distribution, but next is Ms. Amanda Refson. Amanda, extremely proud of you. Congratulations on graduating as a GPODS fellow today. Anshika Srivastav, again, we are honored to have you as part of the GPODS fellowship, and congratulations on graduating with your fellowship today, Anshika. Mr. Ashok Prasad, Ashok, congratulations on being part of the GPODS fellowship and graduating today. Ms. Bipasha Nath, Bipasha, good to see you here, and it's been a great 3 months with you. Obviously, as we said, just the beginning. Congratulations on graduating with your GPODS fellowship certificate today. Mr. Devendra Rakhamig, Devendra, good to see you here again, and congratulations on graduating as a Global Policy, Diplomacy and Sustainability Fellow. Ms. Forum Chandrana, Forum, thanks for all of your great ideas that you have at odd moments in the day, and thanks for sharing those with us, and congratulations on graduating as a GPODS fellow today. James, good to see you here. Mr. James Speak, today we are proud to graduate you as a GPODS fellow and hope you do great things after this. Congratulations, James. And KP, one person I've had amazing conversations with and always full of energy. KP, congratulations on becoming a GPODS fellow today. And I'm sure that we'll have a lot of great things to do together. And Ms. Neha Naikwade, Neha, again, we've had great discussions together, and I'm fairly confident that you're going to be making great changes and positive changes across the world, given your passion for sustainability and public policy. And I'm glad to graduate you as a GPODS fellow today. Mr. Nipun Bhushan, Nipun, always buzzing with great ideas, super enthusiastic, and you are the kind of person that you'd like to. We would like to see going forward, taking a more active role in law and politics and sustainability. And congratulations again for graduating as a GPODS fellow today. Nishi Kothari. Nishi, congratulations and good to see you here. We hope that you do great things after this fellowship, and let's be in touch, and congratulations on graduating from the GPODS fellowship today. And Parikshit Sridhar, Parikshit has been an old friend of mine, and it's amazing to see Parikshit bringing in just a new energy, whether it is in the office hours or the mentorship lectures or anything. You've become an integral part of our team. So, and obviously special award for Parikshit for 100% attendance, almost 100% attendance. Pari has been there in all of the sessions. So congratulations, Parikshit, and thank you for being part of this fellowship.
Oh, thank you so much. Pleasure.
Ms. Paulina Sali. Paulina, great to be in touch with you. And again, I've had some great conversations with you at the beginning of the fellowship, and congratulations on graduating as a GPODS fellow today. Sampada, again, I am so glad for your passion for sustainability and public policy, and congratulations on graduating as a GPODS fellow today. And Simran, Sampada, both sisters, and forgive me when I got confused between the both of you a number of times during my classes, but both of you, Simran, I think again, you've asked really intelligent questions during the lectures and during the classes, and I see in you, a formidable leader going forward in the future. So congratulations. We are proud to graduate you from the GPODS fellowship today. And Swasti, I think, a person who has always given us such great insight, drawing upon her experience, and already somebody I see who's making impact on the ground for, improving the corporates and improving, various stakeholders, business processes towards a more sustainable future. So Swasti, I think, we really think and we are sure that you're going to be leading the initiatives and the voice on sustainable development and public policy and diplomacy going ahead in the future. I've had some fascinating conversations with you, and I'm so proud that you're graduating as a global policy, diplomacy, and sustainability fellow today. Congrats, Swasti.
Thank you so much, Arpit and Ishan.
And Vidhi, again, I think Vidhi, we became great friends, and I've read your writings. I've read some of the works that you do. We have discussed so many books and papers and material together, and I think that you bring in a very unique, a very sincere and genuine approach towards things around public policy, diplomacy, sustainability, and I'm fairly confident that you are going to be one of the leading voices in bringing about positive change for so many of the issues that we are facing right now. I know that I have to share some more papers and readings with you, and I'm on it as we speak. But thank you so much for being a great fellow for GPODS.
Thank you, Arpit. It has been a pleasure. Wonderful journey.
And Yolene, Miss Yolene Koteriu, our friend from New Caledonia. Thank you, Yolene, for adjusting with our odd timings and keeping up, with the lectures and all the mentorship sessions late at night. That really shows the commitment that you have to make a positive change across the world and across your people in your community. I'm sure that your people would look up to you, and they do as much as we do for you. And thank you so much, Yolene, for being part of this fellowship. Congratulations upon your graduation today. All right, so this is now our time for the fellows to speak and share about their experiences of the fellowship. So let me invite the fellows in no particular order, but then just one by one, if you could just share a little bit about your experience of the fellowship and what you're leaving with. So let me first invite Vidhi to share about her experiences, and then we'll have Swasti, Amanda, Parikshit, and then we'll take it from there.
Thanks, Arpit. Hello, everyone. Really honored to be here and for all the mentors to be here. Special address to Arpit, Ishan, and John, I would say. Learned a lot from you. Maybe, you go to Arpit for public administration, governance, and you go to Ishan for sustainability, John for diplomacy, and probably John for life lessons too. So, and for fellows, I would say that it has been a journey, amazing journey with the fellows. They have made it more special. I've learned a lot. And if I've been, too strong in my opinions, if I've been ever rude to you, I'm really sorry for that. I didn't mean any of it. But I'm happy that Ishan said that we have now become the fellow. The journey has started. And I just want to let all of you know that if you want to discuss any of it, any fellowship, any subject, any book, or just random things about life, I'm just a call away for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidhi. And again, such a pleasure having you as a fellow. And, I'm sure that we are going to be in touch, and you're going to be attending more of, such fascinating conversations together. So let me, without further ado, invite Swasti. And Swasti, if you could share a few thoughts with us. And then after that, Amanda, Parikshit, Nipun.
Thank you, Arpit, and thank you, the entire GPODS team. I know there's a ton of people behind what we see on the screen. So thank you, Aditi, Rishika, everyone for managing the entire repository so well, making sure you're sharing everything on time. Thank you, John. Thank you, Ishan. And thank you, most importantly, to all the mentors for taking out the time to, speak to such a small cohort of young people. I don't think a lot of leaders do that, and I genuinely want to thank you for doing that, because it makes so much of a difference in terms of the way we think and the leadership that we are able to inculcate in ourselves. It just gives us a lot of sense of confidence from within, and I think that is what GPODS did for me. It really helped me build that confidence, and today I really feel that when I speak in public, I have a sense that people listen. I don't think I had that level of confidence before I joined GPODS. And that, I think, is one big evolution in the last 3 months that I take back. And really thank you for doing that. Again, as Vidhi mentioned, I'm just a call away. If anybody wants to reach out, really happy to meet all of you, all the fellows, because I've learned so much from you all. I've loved all those virtual cafes with you, just brainstorming on random ideas with no real objective or a hidden agenda inside, just coming out and sharing what we think. Even if we are confused, we're lost, it's just such a safe place to be in terms of sharing. So please reach out to me. I would be happy to continue this relationship going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swasti. And indeed, we would be privileged to continue, such an open, safe, conversational relationship with all of you. And with this, let me invite Amanda to speak and share a few words.
Thanks, Arpit, and really happy to see you here today. I'm glad that you're hopefully feeling a little better. And thank you to Arpit, Ishan, and Jonathan for really running such an amazing fellowship. There are a few things that I would willingly wake up at 5 in the morning to participate in, and I'm so grateful to have had this opportunity over the last 3 months to get to know you all, and also just have such incredible mentorship and intellectual stimulation. Coming out of grad school, I think I was really lacking that in my life, and to be able to have such dynamic conversations and learn so much from my peers and be pushed to think about policy and the environment and sustainability in such different ways has been such a gift, and I am so appreciative of that. And I'm excited that one day maybe I can turn around and be a mentor to the next cohorts of fellows. So thank you for setting me up to potentially be that one day. And as Swasti said, looking forward to, and as Ishan said also, this is not the end. This is the beginning of the journey, and looking forward to continuing it all with you.
And absolutely, thank you so much, Amanda. And when we look into our fellows while we are selecting, this is one question that we typically ask: that can we see this person? That's kind of our litmus test. That can we see this person becoming a mentor for the fellowship a few years down the line? And certainly, that's the idea, that we are creating a group of people who are willing to help others out. So thank you so much, Amanda. Loved every bit of our interaction, and I'm sure that there are many more to come in the future. And thanks for the 5 a.m.s. So
yes, I'll hold you to it, Arpit.
Certainly. And now, again, another friend who joins us from odd time zones or timings, Parikshit, who joins us from Australia during the late night sessions for him. So and a great friend of mine from before the fellowship, from my undergrad days, actually. So Parikshit, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Fantastic. Nice to meet everyone. And thank you, Ishan, Arpit, and John, and the extended team for putting together this fellowship. It was an amazing experience because I would say I've come from a totally quantitative background, and this program has given my mind some great wings because I've met mentors from different walks of life and transcending many different avenues of human endeavor. So in that sense, I would say it's total diversification, and very, very thankful to GPODS and to the fellow mates as well, Swasti, Vidhi, and everyone else, bringing together thoughts and ideas from environment, sustainability, refugees, and analytics, and law as well. So great. Thank you so much. And just a quick, marketing stuff is you can add whichever adjective you want to add, whatever terminology you want to use, and it will fit the acronym GPODS. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, we should probably give a few a try sometime. But thank you so much, Pari, for always, coming up with innovative ideas and for being so engaged with the fellowship. Now, without further ado, let me invite Nipun to share his experience and a few thoughts.
Hi guys. Again, as Parikshit pointed out, I also feel that also based on what Amanda said about GPODS, I think the ability of GPODS to actually stimulate us intellectually is what best qualifies and characterizes it. And I feel personally, for me, it has really broadened my horizons in the sense that I've been empowered and enabled to now think beyond what just my law degree would otherwise have enabled me to do on ground. And it's really sort of appended all new avenues and all new ways I can really sort of chip in to realize my vision of sustainability. And if it weren't for GPODS, I still do feel that I would have eventually found some way of coming up with a way to realize that vision of mine. But GPODS really gave me that impetus, that stimulus to, and also the great fodder for my mind to grow intellectually and even in a way spiritually. So I feel more connected to the domain of sustainability. And I'm grateful for all the time that was actually devoted by the team at GPODS, and all the wonderful sessions we've had in the company of the mentors and the fellows. I feel really, I'm choking on emotions right now. I'm not one for emotions, but I feel really glad that I could be a part of this very spectacular fellowship. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nipun, and indeed a pleasure having you as part of the fellowship. And I see GPODS as a family, and you guys have become an integral part of it. And just like family, you guys are there with us forever. So we're not going to leave you, even in the future. And now let me invite KP. KP Krishnapriya, if you could share a few words about.
Hello, everyone. I don't know what I can say at this point that hasn't already been said, but I'm just going to say that I will definitely miss all the philosophizing that used to happen in class and in the virtual cafes. And it was really great to interact with all of you, and it was really great to get to know all of you. And as Amanda said, this is not the end, and I'm sure you will find me lurking in one of the lectures in the next cohort as well. So yeah, really happy that I'm here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, KP. And it'll be a pleasure to see you lurking around and even taking the lead in the discussions and the lectures going forward. And with this, let me invite Bipasha to share a few words, please.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I mean, GPODS, at least for me, brought so many good memories and so many good times, especially at a moment when things are quite challenging for all of us. So there were so many shared moments and shared thoughts that was really, it was really nice to experience it with all of you. So, I mean, there were so many takeaways. I don't know which one to really highlight, but one thing that I know is going to really stay with me is that it doesn't feel like GPODS, we're just the second cohort. I mean, things were managed so wonderfully and so smoothly. So what I feel is that if you have, the end result, you have clarity about what you want, then the entire journey is so much more exciting. So I think that's one major thing that I think, will keep inspiring me to also, implement in my own undertakings later on. So there are so many things that I learned from all of you, from the mentors, and it's been a wonderful experience. Would not have been possible listening to all the mentors and all of you if it were not for GPODS. So thank you, and it was really, really wonderful being with you here.
Thank you so much, Bipasha, and likewise, wonderful being with you and getting to know you. With this, let me invite Neha to share a few words, please.
Everything has already been said. I mean, I'm kind of out of words, but I would like to share a personal thought maybe. So when I joined GPODS, I was looking for clarity because I was high on enthusiasm, and there is so much out in the world, to do, and it is very easy to feel that heavy burden of, there are so many ways to, save this planet, help out people, but I think I was looking for clarity and where I fit. And today I can say that I know where I want to go, and I owe a big thanks to Arpit, Ishan, to all the mentors, and also to my fellow over here. I know I missed some lectures, and every time while looking at a video, there was not a single lecture that I regretted not attending live. So thank you very, very much. And I would also like to say that in maybe 10-15 years down the line, if there is a situation as in I need some help in law, and I call up KP quickly and get moving to the solution, I wouldn't really be surprised to have such a ecosystem in place. And I think this is going to have a huge impact, because one person cannot be expert with everything, and here GPODS is building a system where it is creating an ecosystem to move all the fronts forward to create that change. So I think it's going to be great, guys. I mean, you all are on to a great start, and in a few years we are going to see great results of this program, and I'm happy to been part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Neha. And I have to say that we are equally inspired by you as you are from us. And we are glad that we were able to make a positive difference in getting you to understand where exactly do you want to head after this. So there's nothing bigger than that we can imagine, considering the work that we're doing. And with this forum, over to you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Glad to be a part of this program. I have a couple of points to share. Yeah. So, one is that I have found my tribe. So, back in like before GPODS, I am, ranting on my social media, and I feel like, is it just me who is seeing all these problems and is concerned about, all these things happening in the world? And, there we have, I'm coming from a very different background. So, it's a very, it's a very calming feeling to be a part of your own tribe where everyone is concerned about the issues that you are concerned of. um, Secondly, there's a lot of freedom and accessibility that is given by GPODs. So if I were to understand all these things from all these awesome mentors, uh, I had I had to apply in some education program, and they would have asked me my background, which I am sure I wouldn't have been eligible for. So there was no eligibility criteria as per the academic background. So I'm very grateful for that. That I could access this all these knowledge uh, because of that, and a lot of freedom we had. Um, and third thing I want to say is that I had a kind of world tour in past 3 months, and uh, it's and like philosophically, spiritually, it's a very calming feeling that we all are more similar than we are different, and it's a very beautiful feeling to leave behind, to leave behind with. And yeah, these are my thoughts, and very thankful to all the mentors, to the organizing team, and uh, like I said, I started from the tribe. Like, I'm very grateful for that tribe. uh, me and KP were chatting yesterday night at 3:30 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Forum, and we are glad to be part of your tribe, and we are glad to build meaningful relationships with all of you. And that's the idea, that you can pick up a phone and reach out to a GPODS fellow at any point of time in your life to solve a problem that you're working on. That's the sort of culture that we believe in. That's the culture that we want to create more of in this world, and we are glad that we played some part in making that happen. And this is something of a multiplier effect, that what we have done now, you will add to this community, and that's how it grows. So thank you so much, Forum. And now let me invite Devendra.
Thank you, Arpit. So I would like to say that, first of all, I was very humbled when I got selected for the program, and it was one of a kind of opportunity where I was meeting and even working with people from diverse backgrounds. So, and I would really like to appreciate the dynamic structure of the program and the flexibility which provides to the candidates. So I've been that student who have missed a lot of the live sessions of the program, but I have mostly referred to the recordings and learned from that. So till now, public policy, diplomacy, and even environmental sustainability, these things were my interest areas. I was interested about this, but now, after being part of this fellowship, I have a good amount of knowledge, and uh, though I'm working as a business consultant and I'm advising companies to make a good amount of money, but going ahead, if I happen to be a very good consultant in the future, then yes, in my suggestion, behind those suggestions, I would really have these core values, which would be guiding me. And so, be it advising to those businesses, or if I happen to create one of my own, then I would really make those businesses adhere or at least advise to these concepts. So thank you everyone, and thank you GPODS for at least connecting me to a wide variety of experts who are top of their game across the world. And thank you all. It was happy to interact with you all. Hope our paths cross again. And maybe if this pandemic wasn't there, then maybe I would have met you in Delhi, yeah, or at least in the NCR region. Thank you everyone. Hope let us stay connected, and if at least on WhatsApp or on LinkedIn. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Devendra, and we hope that you'll be making a positive change to the private sector, as Eric also said a while back, that that's a part of equation that we cannot certainly ignore, and they have to play their role. So we are glad that you'll be contributing on that front, bringing some of these values in over there. And with this, let me invite James, and after James, Nishi.
GPODS have given me a lot of great opportunities, of course. I like the change. I like the structure of how the classes works. I like how the interaction with mentors and everything that has been going on. Of course, I obviously, there were sometimes I didn't attend the class because of professional obligation. Of course, I was a frontline worker and work in the corporate retail sector. And this pandemic, of course, brought us a lot of changes and a lot of overburns on me, because obviously I worked a lot recently, and because of that, I didn't make a class. But on the bright side, I did serve a lot of communities for those who are in need, particularly with a lot of retail products. And of course, I know this is a difficult situation right now, especially with India. Of course, their COVID cases is rising, of course, and I understand deeply concerned with that. And so the thing that we need to take away from here is what's going to happen next. What is the uncertainty out there? We obviously should not be discouraged because of the pandemic. We should be obviously proud of ourselves that GPODS has an opportunity to give us a lot of opportunities to actually prepare for the future and everything else that is required for us to become a future leader for tomorrow. So for that, of course, I hope that everyone's their future and everything, gratitude should be all right and everything. And I hope that I will potentially will see you all in the near future, whatever it is that potentially I will meet you all. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, James, for all of the work, the good work that you've been doing on ground. And as we just discussed earlier, that, it's not as if, these 3 months are the end of the fellowship for you. You can very well attend all of the future fellowship sessions and, keep getting to know more mentors and more of the new fellows. So thank you so much for being part of this community. And, absolutely, I love the idea of looking forward to the future and, making something good out of it. So thank you, James. And with this, let me call our last fellows. Nishi, who can probably speak now. And thank you. Before Nishi, I've received a message from Mr. John Dixon. John, I know that you have to leave. Nishi, if you don't mind, John, could you just share a few words about the fellowship? You guys know about John. I keep talking about him a lot. I'll tell you more, but then let me just invite John Dixon first, and then we'll get Nishi.
No, so I don't want to take time here, and just go ahead. I very impressed and proud of all of you, and this is a fantastic program that run by a few troublemakers there, and so those are the best kind of people to be around. And I love the program. I think that you've been exposed to a lot of different points of view, and that's very important. But going forward, the main thing is the connection. The relationship is the key. That's how we're going to fix the world. It's broken because relationships are broken. It's very simple. So the connections you've made here are very, very special and very powerful and very important for making things better. And the fantastic global perspective here is really important to work from. So congratulations, all the graduates, all the not graduates, fellows, and also the team that put it together. And yeah, keep it going. Make sure and keep those relationships going. It's very inspiring to hear all of your comments, and really proud of you and proud of the team that put it together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much. And John Dixon is the person who kind of inspired my original thoughts around creating such communities when I'd attended this program called IYLA with Jonathan, International Youth Leadership Assembly, that takes place at the New York UN headquarters and the World Bank headquarters, and then a bunch of other places every year in the United States. And by being inspired from that, I had invited John to a conference that I had organized around Mahatma Gandhi's idea of sustainability in India. And John gave me this really invaluable feedback over there that, in the conference that I organized, even though it was a youth leadership conference, most of the speakers were, people who were more like John himself. So in that category of age and experience. And he said that, we need to have a program which is really driven by the youth and by the fellows. And here, I think, with GPODS, we've been able to make strides over there where we get our fellows to take the front stage to speak at various events and, really make their voices heard. So, John, we are doing good on that. So that feedback taken, and thank you.
You are, thank you. Great job,
thank
everybody.
you with that. And with this, our last fellow, Nishi, if you want to come in and speak. And after Nishi, if some of our other mentors who are here, if you'd like to share some thoughts, we'll take those, and then after that I'll deliver my closing remarks. So first, over to Nishi.
So I won't take a lot of time, but I'd just like to say that I am extremely grateful to be selected as a part of this fellowship. And just another thing to add, for the entire experience, I did understand the analytical aspects of the fellowship. And I think when we go out there and have a on-the-job practical application of all of these aspects, it's going to create a much more intellectually innovative environment. And I am super humble and grateful for being vested with this kind of knowledge. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you. And I am looking forward to see the different ventures wherein this knowledge is extrapolated and applicated.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nishi. And we really do hope that you're able to bring some of this analytical rigor to your work. And thank you for being part of this fellowship. And with this, let me now start inviting Jonathan, who has agreed to share some of his own thoughts about the fellowship. So Jonathan, over to you.
Oh yeah, thank you, Arpit. I really love the haircut. I really do, and I hope all is well with you, with things in India. So good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on what part of the world you're tuning in from. It's really a pleasure to be speaking to you all here today. And first, congratulations on completing the fellowship, seriously. And honestly, if it were later in the evening, maybe you know me, I would say let's raise a glass and let's have a toast, because you did it. You completed your fellowship, and congratulations. Now, I hope you're not all worrying too much about your capstone or the daily ongoings of life, because today's a day for celebration. It really is. You completed a very, very prestigious fellowship. And it's really been a pleasure being here. And I'm proud to have gotten to know some of you all as a part of this fellowship. I know you guys have actually met me at an interesting part of my life. As Sean said, I just came back from Jamaica a few days ago, and beyond the spotty internet, and this being the second time I've been in Jamaica in 12 years, and Jamaica nearly swallowed me whole, and other bunch of things I can't say because it's being recorded. I'm really, really proud to be in here. And I'm looking forward to keeping in touch with all of you as you officially join the GPODS family. So fellows, As this chapter comes to an end and you continue to craft your own personal stories and begin to write a new chapter, I want each of you to think of yourselves and ask yourselves this question as you move forward. What will your legacy be? Now, you're fellows of an elite network of individuals. The knowledge and experiences that you've gained from GPODS has been beneficial to the entire world. You're all ambitious, determined, insightful, and intelligent. And with that in mind, what will your legacy be? Fellows, you're in a global cohort that's comprised of different cultures, religions, ethnicities, each with your own different systems of political beliefs and unique experiences. Now, even though you're all different, you all have a common shared core value, and that value is doing the most good that you can. Now, whenever I speak to a fellow, the theme of doing the most good to positively impact the lives of others always comes up. Now, whether that's talking about innovating things in the private sector, bringing forward sustainability, good governance, getting rid of plastic in the oceans, saving the turtles, all these things are good thoughts and good things that come up. And truth be told, I honestly think that's just a part of the secret sauce of being a part of this fellowship. Now, I'm excited to see where you all will go from here because I look at each and every one of you and I see future international actors, potential politicians, policy leaders, advocates, C-level executives, and who knows, maybe a head of state or two. You can never really tell, right? So unfortunately, this 3-month journey has come to an end, but that doesn't mean goodbye. As Arpit said, you all are part of the family. And we want you to keep in touch with each other. We want you to keep in touch with us. We want you to keep in touch with the new and incoming fellows that GPODS has after this generation. Because imagine this is a second cohort of GPODS. Imagine what the 22nd cohort of GPODS would look like and what impact this program will have on the rest of the world. And I know not just because of the impact of or the legitimacy of this program that we're going to keep in touch with each other. I really believe that the reason why we're going to keep in touch with each other is because we all have become a family. And family, no matter how irritated or frustrated or maybe even hurt you at some point in the past, you keep in touch with each other because you still care, because you have their best interests at heart. So I ask of you, let's treat each other as family and do our best part in uplifting each other. Now, my hope after this 3-month fellowship is that you feel empowered. And if you think about it, you've had the opportunity to speak and to learn from current and former diplomats, international politicians, representatives from large corporations, professors, and you've even created an online virtual international summit. I mean, to me, that sounds pretty impressive, and you guys should really be, feeling good about yourself, so go ahead and brush the dirt off your shoulders. It's fine. I won't judge. I really won't. And keeping that in mind, yes, it's important to keep humble, but I always tell my friends this, being humble isn't the same as being self-aware. And don't take that message to be arrogant, because the people you step on to get to the top are the same people you'll see when you fall back down. So keep that in mind. All I'm saying is realize your power and acknowledge your worth, because you all are worth so much. You're very powerful and you're capable of achieving anything that you put your minds to. Now, as you move forward and continue to craft your own personal stories, think on these things. When you ask yourself, what will my legacy be? I want you to ask yourself that your legacy should be one that embraces new change, continues to challenge yourself, and at the same time, realizing your own power. I know, fellows, you've made it. Congratulations on being a part of the GPODS family. Keep in touch, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And I hope to see you guys as future leaders of this crazy, crazy world. So thank you so much. It's been really a pleasure getting to know you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John, for the great words, and something that I would personally live with and have in my mind. And thank you for being such a critical pillar to this team of GPODS and for making this happen. And now, before I close the floor officially, I'd like to invite Professor John Mathiason, who had kindly, accepted our invitation to be a mentor for the fellowship this time. And Professor Mathiason, if you could just share a few words for the fellows before we close the event.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Let me build on what Jonathan said. This is you have finished an interesting round, and now there are the rest of the rounds to follow in which you can work together and individually, because as I think one thing that came out of all of what we as mentors and what Eric pointed out today, we're going into a world where a lot of things have to be done on a radical basis that has never confronted us before in terms of the amount of time. And it's going to depend on you guys to do it. My guys are, I'm afraid, limited in the amount of time that we have to do things. So we're going to count on you to go forward and solve these problems. As you can see behind me, fight for climate change, for example, and the other three problems of the apocalypse. We have to solve them, and I count on you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Mathiason. And the hope is that it's going to be us who are going to take action now, as that's the last word that is there, in the words in your background. That the time is to take the action now, and we are going to be well placed, and we are going to be taking those actions pretty soon. And with this, we come to a closing of this event. I am eternally thankful to all of the fellows for being part of this great journey. And I can't repeat this enough of what Ishan said, that this is just the beginning of a great journey. And we are thinking about it as right now 20 fellows along with about 76 mentors from all across the world coming together and thinking about some of the problems and their solutions that would really define our present as well as our future, as well as how the posterity looks at its past. That how would people in the future perceive us as human beings who did something for the benefit of the humankind, for the world, for the earth, or human beings who just turned the other eye and kept sitting together, not doing much. And we are the generation, we are the people who would define that. As Jonathan said, I could only imagine how this fellowship's 22nd edition, this is just the second one, would look like. And I'm sure that we'd have hundreds of people connected with this common sense of purpose, doing great things across this world. So I'm fairly confident that this fellowship is going to really be one of those levers that changes the world. Now, in the past few days, as some of you know that I've been through a personal crisis. My grandmother passed away a few days back, and then right after that, I got into isolation because I was tested COVID positive with many other people in my family, and currently, living in times where across the country, people are suffering, people are struggling just to get some of the basics, such as oxygen. It's a trying and testing time that we are living in right now. And I was thinking about a few things. It gave me some time to reflect when, I was thinking about my life and, just the meaning of life in general. And I realized that, the thing with life is that you don't know when it's going to end. You could be just fine today, and, next couple of hours or next day, you could be on your way out. So I hope it doesn't happen that way. But then life is ephemeral and unpredictable like that. And when you're living in such a setting where life is so ephemeral, you kind of think and you wonder that, okay, what if I am on my way out tomorrow? What is the what are the things that I would really value? What would my life amount to? And I personally felt that things like at least two things that I could think of. One is that, all of the material possessions, all of, the even I count them as material possessions, awards, the status signals, etc., your prestige, all of these would probably not count for much when you're, looking at that juncture. What would count is how many meaningful relationships did you have in this life, and how many people did you love, how many people loved you, and how much time were you able to spend with those people, and what is the legacy that you're leaving behind in life. I was proud to think that GPODS was probably one of the top things that came into my mind, that if COVID goes south, at least one thing that I did in my life which was worthwhile would be this. So I'd like to thank you guys for this opportunity, and all the best.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Arpit. And just to carry forward a couple of things, I must take a special moment to thank all of the mentors, and a little secret sauce that John mentioned about. This was three guys in three corners of the globe. Arpit was somewhere else, not in India then, coming together, thinking of something, coming up with a fellowship, and it wouldn't have worked. It could not have worked if it wasn't for the kind of support we've got from each of our mentors. You have seen how important these people are. I mean, Professor Mathiason, Professor Tipping, these are the opinion makers of today. And to be given the kind of support that we've got from all of our mentors. So we are extremely humbled, and as an organization, we draw our inspiration, we draw our power and strength from all of our mentors. So thank you so much, Professor Tipping and Professor Mathiason, who are in attendance, and all of the others would be seeing this video later. Thank you for being a mentor here. Thank you, John, Professor Cummings, if you will, because that's the title that you like now. You have been, I mean, the lesser I say, the better, even though I must confess, you have been absolutely killing it with the graduation ceremonies. Like every speech of yours in the convocation is another level. So thank you so much, John. And you know that you're our go-to person every time we have to brainstorm or pick your brains on anything. We call you at random hours, and you're always there for us. So thank you so much, John. And Arpit, it's absolutely crazy that you are literally on your 7th day of having been detected with COVID, and this is where the symptoms are terrible. I was messaging Arpit's wife for pass now, check if his oxygen is fine, and still to take out the time to have the drive. If that doesn't show us what GPODS means to all of us, I don't know what does. So again, I know all of you have heard the story, but GPODS was GPOD. It was Arpit's idea. Arpit had been pestering me with this idea for about a year before it took off, and none of this, even the regular meetings that I have on an everyday basis when Arpit isn't around, they're almost impossible to conduct without Arpit. Because first of all, I apparently do not have the authoritative power to conduct a meeting, but more importantly, because it is Arpit's vision and drive to take this forward. So thank you, Arpit, for everything. One last shout out to people who have been complimented by all of us, but not just explicitly. All the team that works tirelessly, right from Aditi, who manages everything seamlessly, sometimes so well that I feel ashamed of not having thought of something. So Aditi, Rishika, Srishti, Rashi, Aishwarya, Aniket, Vasi, Pribane, Ashna. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting someone here, but you know who you are, and And I really do thank you from the bottom of my
And all of the interns.
You have to come to terms with the organization when you're helping. Yes, all of our interns. I think I'm cutting off, Arpit. I can probably give it back to you if you're feeling better now. But I was just going to say that running an organization is a thankless job, guys. So thank you for being such an important.
No, I think we have to give a shout out to the team because despite the fact that many of our team members we have never met in person, we've been going at it with full force and quite seamlessly, and that talks a lot about their passion for the work and the organization. So thanks a lot to each and every one of our team members who've been managing everything like clockwork behind the scenes. So thank you so much. And I know that, this was supposed to be a closing address, but I received a belated message from David that I had checked with him whether he'd like to speak, and now he has confirmed that he would. So David, if you're still here and if you'd like to share a few thoughts before we end, that'll be awesome.
Thank you, Arpit. And a big congratulations to all of the fellows today on your achievements. I'm wishing you all the best in your future endeavours. We need more highly skilled policymakers and diplomats to create a world that's happier, more ecologically sustainable, and more climate friendly. So I believe GPODS equips you with the knowledge, skills, and connections to promote that positive change. And if there's anything you can ever do, it's stay up to date, stay current with knowledge, and keep coming back and learning when you can, and share that knowledge. So all the best.
Thank you so much, David. And with this, we come to an end of our today's session. Fascinating 3 months. It doesn't feel like, it's been 3 months together. It feels like, we already know so much about each other. And, we are I do genuinely think that, close relationships, they are not a function of time, they're the function of the intensity that you've lived them with. So I'm proud to say that we have most of all, and most importantly, created a solid community of committed individuals who can cooperate with each other. And I talk so much about the problem of cooperation in this world. So I'm glad that we are able to bring this together in this way. And with this, again, finally, another congratulations to all of the fellows. Today, we declare you as Global Policy, Diplomacy, and Sustainability's fellows officially. Congratulations, and go change the world.
All right, guys. So the recording is done for